Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this unseen video. This is where we're rounding up all the talking points, and of course it's going to be dominated by NXT Deadline. This is quite the meme that's doing the rounds. Really fun. So Oba Femi returned. He was the replacement for Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe, of course, was attacked on Tuesday. He didn't make the show, so we needed a replacement. Here you can see Ava saying, I think I made a good choice for Eddie's replacement, the returning ruler, destroyer, and now the Iron Survivor, because Oba Femi would go on to win this match. If you've never seen it, it's really interesting. 25 minutes on the clock, 5 wrestlers competing, and you've got to get the most falls. It can be by pinfall, it can be by submission. If you are the person that was pinned or submitted, then you have to go into a penalty box. 25 minutes on the clock. Here you can see, look, 23 minutes had gone by this point. At this point, it was Ethan and Javon that were in the lead. But this moment where Ethan has to go into the box with Oba, really good, really entertaining, and as we said, plenty of these images doing the rounds. So Oba would go on to win, and something really stood out because Giulia would win the women's version. She had all this confetti raining down, but there was no confetti. There was no mass celebration for Oba when he won at the start of the night. Here's Brooks Jensen saying, damn Oba, no confetti for you. So even the NXT superstars were noticing the injustice. This was how the match ended. So we saw what it was like after 23 minutes. Well, when we got to 25, Wesley had 1 fall, Javon Evans had 2, Ethan Page had 2, Nathan Frazer had 1, Oba Femi with 3. So it is Oba now that goes on to face Trick Williams. This was the moment that Oba returned. Some people a little disappointed. They were hoping for Penta. They were hoping for Hikuleo. Maybe like a Lance Anoa'i, or maybe a superstar that's come down from the main roster. Maybe a new signing that we just don't know about. Oba Femi, it was fine, right? I wasn't down on it, but I can't say it was as shocking as, say, Penta making his WWE debut, you know? But even so, you can't be down on Oba Femi. What a talent he is. So the start of the night, Javon and Wes started us off. I thought Javon was just a little off on his game. Normally, he is the kind of person that can really shine, really stand out, just like we saw Sol Ruka doing in the women's version. I was sort of expecting the same from Javon, but some of the spots just felt a little bit off in places. So yeah, not the quickest of starts to this, but it got really good, and actually the whole show was really good. We do have the review if you want to check that out on the Wrestling Days Opinions channel, our second channel. This is Oba. He had a message after winning the match.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 Iron Survivor, the ruler, the destroyer, Oba Femi. Because what else can you expect? And now I'll be challenging for the NXT Championship, and boy, I've been waiting for this opportunity. So whoever it is, whether it's Trick, whether it's Ridge, and God, I hope it's Trick, I'm coming for you.
There we go. I mean, I don't know why he wanted it to be Trick. I'm not sure why Trick was the person he wanted. I'd be really interested to dig into that a bit more. But he's like, God, I hope it's Trick. Obviously, that match would come up later in the show. But yeah, that was the men's Iron Survivor. Really fun. Really enjoyed it. Then we went over to the NXT Underground match. So this was Lola against Jada Parker. This is where they take the ropes off the ring. These two just fight. No pinfalls. It's just submission, or like you've got to make your opponent pass out. Really enjoyed this match. I thought it was so good. Lola picked up the victory. She is now 3-0 in NXT Underground matches. This is very much her match type. Just like how Buried Alive or Coffin Casket matches were like the Undertaker match type. These kind of NXT Underground matches are very much her domain. 3-0 now. So Lola was the victor. She is the queen of the Underground. You can see her arm in ice. And honestly, I don't know if she hasn't done some damage there. No word on any injuries. No one injured that I'm aware of. But this is the image she put out 6 hours ago, 3-0 with her arm iced up. Triple H's thoughts said Lola Vice versus Jada Parker legitimately looked like two women that you would see fighting in a parking lot somewhere. And you know what? I completely agree. We said that during the watch along. It really felt like a proper scrap between two women. And it was a really fun fight to watch. Tiffany Stratton, who was also shown during the broadcast, she said, I want an underground match against Lola Vice. So could that be a future match that we set up for Tiffany Stratton? As we said, she was sniffing around NXT tonight. Kapata said, please make this a thing. So I'd be down for that. That'd be a lot of fun. So that was our second match. Now if we go over to our thirds, so obviously Nathan Frazer was in the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge match. He was absolutely beaten up, right? And Axiom said, don't worry, I'm going to carry us, right? I think a lot of us were concerned at that point because there's been a lot of teases about Fraxiom splitting up. Well, they would be victorious in a really fun match against Tavian Heights, Miles Bourne, No Quarter Catch Crew. This is actually the interview that they did after, and yeah, honestly, they seem to be in a really good place. There's a lot of love and affection between them because I think they know they sort of got away with one there because he was not 100%. They got pushed to their absolute limit, but they are still NXT champions. So let's just play a little bit of this, shall we? Hopefully it will load.
Nathan Axiom. Nathan, I'll start with you. Tonight at Deadline, you did not come out as the Iron Survivor, and you did come out with a few bumps and bruises, but the two of you as a team are still the NXT Tag Team Champions. Nathan, tell me first, how are you feeling?
In a word, fine. We're more than fine. We are the best tag team in the world.
And I just want to say, look, I'm self-aware enough to know that I like to go off on my own a little bit and try and create a big of a legacy for myself as possible, but I knew that tonight wasn't anything that I couldn't handle. But I mean, bro, like, you said you were going to do the heavy lifting tonight. Like, bro, that was the definition of heavy lifting. Like, this was all him. Like, I swear, I was just along for the ride. Unreal, man.
And Axiom's like, you're the best tag partner I could ever ask for. Like, they seem to actually be in a good place. I love that start, though. Inner words, fine. I'm fine. He doesn't look fine. He was pretty messed up. He was pretty banged up. He was bleeding at the end of that Men's Iron Survivor. So I don't know what damage is done to his nose, but he does look like he's won, and he looks like a defeated man, doesn't he? This is what it meant to the Fraxiom fans. Look at this.
Let's go! Let's go!
There we go. Whoa, look, Axiom said, this means the world to us. Fraxiom is fine. Fraxiom is fine. They said, I don't even have to get anything for Christmas now. Thanks, guys. So, yeah, really pleased. Look at this. Nathan Frazer be like, yeah, of course, I'm ready for our NXT tag title. That's a really good meme. That's a really good meme. Fraxiom is fine. And still. So the champions retain. Sportskeeda saying it was match of the night till now, comfortably. They thought that it beat the Men's Iron Survivor. They thought it beat the Women's Underground. They said it's comfortably match of the night. And I would agree. I think that it was the best match up until that point. Whether the Women's Iron Survivor just pipped it, that's up for debate. But you lot that joined us during the watch-along, you scored it as the match of the night up to this point as well. Yeah, now OTM came down. Sportskeeda said they've turned on their spectator mode. So they came down. I don't remember what happened with these guys. Did they just wander off again? I don't remember seeing them. I really was worried at one point that they were going to interfere. So OTM came down to have a look at the match and they were watching in the entranceway. I remember thinking, are they going to interfere? And then I just never saw them again. So I don't know if they kind of just went wandering off or something, but nothing came of that. So we had that. Then, unfortunately, this was probably the weakest match. So we won't spend too long on this. Of course, you can see right here, Trick Williams retaining. Andre Chase was like, that's my dog. Thanks for having my back, Trick Williams. So we know that Ridge has caused big problems with Chase U, leading to them having to disband, right? Actually bringing down Chase University. Trick Williams kind of standing up for Andre Chase, and look, thanks for having my back. Still, you know, we need to find out what's happening here, of course. Hopefully we get some answers on that on Tuesday. Ridge, though, afterwards said, I'm not dead and I'm not stopping. So that was just a couple of hours ago, tweeted out by Ridge Holland. Trick Williams responding to Andre Chase. And this was a fun moment in the match. Right towards the end of the match, I think he did it on purpose. Some people online seem to be under the impression this was a botch, it was a mistake. I think it was done on purpose. But he gets, like, tangled up in the ropes. He gets, like, let free. It is interesting how late it comes in the match. And it is interesting that they don't really do anything with it. They don't really focus on it. Like, you don't really see Trick even selling it that much after. So there are definitely elements that make me go, was it a botch? Was it a moment that was not meant to happen? Because if you was going to do this, I would have done it earlier in the match. I then would have had Ridge target the neck. I would have really built it into the story better. But so it's got me second guessing now. All of a sudden I'm like, was it meant to happen? Was it meant to happen? I don't know anymore. I honestly was not in any doubt at the time. I thought that it was intentional. I thought it was just part of the match. It was just a spot. But, yeah, it's got me second guessing now. And then, of course, we had one more match. It was the Women's Iron Survivor. So the winner here, Giulia. Sol Ruka showing some love, even though she was in the match. So Sol Ruka applauding away. Giulia, the Iron Survivor. Bayley showing some love as well. Here, Giulia scores the second fall in the nick of time. She's the Iron Survivor. So that's how it ended after 25 minutes. Giulia 2, Stephanie 1, Zarya 1, Sol 1, Wren 1. And you can see that Zarya ended inside the penalty box as well. But it is Giulia that just gets the win. What a moment this was, where we had Steph and we had Giulia going at it. They didn't go at it for long. A couple of little exchanges, but the crowd were really into it. You can tell they know this is a match that people want to see. And so there's just a little, it's kind of like in the Rumble, when you get two people going face to face in the Rumble and they just give you enough, right? Just enough to whet the appetite, but you just want that bit more, you know? Think about like when we got a bit of Gunther and Brock and everyone was like, oh my God, you know, and we wanted a bit more of it. And obviously, don't know if that's ever going to happen now, but that's the kind of thing that was happening here. Yeah, so this was Wren and Giulia that opened up the start of this one. We obviously spoke about Javon and Wes starting the men's. It was Wren and Giulia that opened this one. Humble Wrestling saying the only person in either of the Iron Survivor matches to not get pinned. So apparently she's the only one that I'm guessing didn't spend any time in the penalty box like everyone else. Like took a fall against them, but she was the only one that didn't. I actually did not notice that at the time. So this is a moment right at the end where Steph is looking in the ring as Giulia's celebrating. You can see some of the confetti that is raining down. So I wonder what's going on in her mind in this moment. Is she happy for her friend? Or is she thinking that should have been me? Maybe a bit of both, actually. And Cora Jade said the NXT women's division put on one hell of a show tonight, as always, but you'll still never be as good to beat my bestie. So obviously talking about Roxanne Perez, the current NXT women's champion, right? Let's go to the general deadline folder. So here, this was good. Trap said Vic calling that move everything but the bookend, just so Booker had to let him know, right? So the Uranagi, there was a slam down. I think it was in the Trick Ridge match. And he Uranagis him and chucks him down. It's like a side slam. Well, that is also known as a bookend, right? But apparently Vic was calling it everything except that, and Booker had to go, it's called a bookend, right? Vic Joseph's like, bah, ha, 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 I'm glad you noticed. So he was basically just winding up Booker T on commentary. Very good. Here we found out that New Year's Evil is going to take place on January 7th. 2025. So that's going to be the day after the Raw debut. So the very next night, we're going to be in LA. Okay, and it looks like Tiffany Stratton looks like she's going to be keeping a close eye on things. So that is going to be NXT New Year's Evil. I think that's the show where we're going to get Oba versus Trick. And that's where we're going to get Giulia against Roxanne, the rematch. And Tiffany says that she may be there. We don't know that she will, but she did tease potentially cashing in. She's like, maybe it'll be Tiffy time. And she's like, I do have money in the bank. I've said on the watch along, I've said in the opinions video, I personally don't want to see her cashing in on any of the NXT titles, but I think really they're going to want that show to be a big deal, because obviously that Raw is going to be a massive deal. So you can understand them wanting to keep that momentum going by having the NXT the very next night be a big deal as well. So you can understand them putting like championship matches on there, getting some main roster stars on there. Like, I think we're going to see that show getting built even bigger the closer we get towards it. They announced a couple of matches for Tuesday, so there was a little backstage fight between Wes and Javon. I believe that's going to result in a match on Tuesday. We know we got Tatum and Gigi. They're going to be taking on JC and Jasmine. That's happening on Tuesday as well. So there's a few things that are going down on Tuesday. This was very interesting. Ethan Page said, I don't know. I can't do this. And he walked away. Sportskeeda wondering, is the call-up coming? Is the call-up coming? I don't mind this in the sense of he's been a wrestler for 18 years. He never needed NXT to learn how to wrestle, right? What he needed from NXT was just to get people used to who he is. Just a bit of an introduction, but also a great way to get your feet in the door, you know? Kind of get a bit settled in, rather than just going straight to the main roster. We've seen the issues the Motor City Machine Guns have had. You know, they come out to very muted responses. And Ethan Page, at least he spent a bit of time in NXT. He had a little championship run down there. Is the call-up coming? Is the call-up coming? Here's Fade saying, did you notice those three men walking in the background, right? Let's take the sound down. We did notice this. We mentioned it during the watch-along, right? So in the background here, you can just see there over his shoulder, there are some guys that are like walking in the background. Now, I wondered, I thought it might be Gallus at the time, because it sort of looks like these are tables in like a car park area. I sort of get the impression this might have been, I don't even know what this was, some sort of staff room or something. Like, perhaps the backstage area was really small, and so they've had to put like production or something in the car park. I really didn't understand what this was. It is a bit strange having some people in the background, of course. We looked at someone that was in the background in yesterday's Unseen. There's really no thoughts or theories on this, but just something that people seem to have picked up on. And as we said, we picked up on it during the watch-along. And of course, we mentioned as well these two getting into a brawl backstage. Here again, Brooks Jensen saying, shout out to the fan that's wearing an AWA shirt during NXT Deadline. We also got this from Lexis King. Really good promo. I thought he did a fantastic job here. I'm not the same. I'm different. And he was kind of talking about how he's going to eclipse what he did, talking about his father. And it was a really good promo. Really good. I just thought this was funny. We went backstage and we saw, look, she's in the flipping car park. So it must be that they did need to use this space. She's in the exact same car park, but she was there with a railing, like doing, like, getting warmed up, getting ready for her match. I jokingly said during the watch along, I do that, but I just use biscuits instead. And this was the venue, looked really good. I thought it was a good looking venue. The crowd were a little quiet, to be honest. And I don't know if the venue was full, if we could have opened up more seats. Sort of felt like it could have been a little bit more rowdy, shall we say, you know? This was a million miles away from, like, an ECW crowd, of course. But, yeah, you know, it was still a good-looking venue. And look at this. Karrion Kross, pick up the phone, Ethan. So do you remember we were just talking about, is there going to be a call-up for Ethan Page? Pick up the phone, Ethan. Manuel said, what does Karrion want with all ego? Don't know. Is it just a little tease and it's not actually leading to anything? Or is it something more than that? Now, a big thank you to everyone that tagged me in this, because they've used like 6 lines. Anyone that actually tagged me, it kind of cuts it off, I think, after 5. And you do need the 6 here. So that's why I've had to just put the tweet in so that it doesn't cut it off. Because it's kind of important, isn't it, really? The amount of times that it's repeated, because it's been repeated 6 times. So, of course, there is the theory, the thought that this is coming from the 6 different members of the Wyatt Sicks. And of course, people would be like, but hang on, there's only 5. But is there only 5? Is Bray the 6th person, right? Could it be a case that Alexa is going to return and she's going to be the 6th person, right? Obviously, the word is that she's going to come back and she won't be immediately in the group. But we don't know the situation there. We don't know. And we have seen them repeat themselves 6 times before. Actually, whenever they do this kind of repetition, it tends to be 6 times. So I don't know that this is connected with the members in Final Testament. I think it might be more coming from the members of the Wyatt Sicks. The fact there's only 5 of them and they repeat it 6 is very interesting. And that is something to chew over. I think I've got Emmanuel here, look, who went the other way and said, stating it 6 times, I'm thinking it could be aimed at Kross, Ellering, Scarlett, AOP, maybe The Miz, like they're telling each of them individually. My first thought was that it's coming from people rather than going to people. But something to think about. Little Fuego, shout out to you, tagging me in this from Karrion. Today I was promoted to 3rd degree. All the baseball bats in the world are weeping at the moment. Great job to all who were promoted today as well. It's been a great year. And then he jokes about how they're building a clan to take down the turtles and whatnot. This is the picture, there we go, of Karrion. So that's what Karrion was up to. I don't know if this is in jiu-jitsu. I would imagine it is. I would believe that it is. But yeah, an excellent achievement. You've got to be very dedicated. Got to work hard to achieve these things. So excellent work there for Karrion. And Ratchet said, someone in the live stream pointed out that Karrion kept petting his hair and that is a sign of insecurity. What could he be insecure about? What if he is jealous that he is not in the Wyatt Sicks? What if he was supposed to be a part of the Wyatt Sicks? Wouldn't Howdy have gone and got him? So he obsesses over it. The devil that you are. So this is from that video that we spent ages breaking down a few days ago. We know that Karrion has got a secret. We know that there's something that he's going to reveal later on. And it could be this. It could be that he sat down with Bray and that there were plans for him to be part of an original group. To me, like, that would be interesting. It doesn't change anything, right? I certainly don't think that he is like the missing 6th person or anything that he's been teasing, right? Because, again, I have to take you back to that URL. It does have an A at the end, right? It says it's got all their initials, then a 5, and then it's got 1A, which we believe is Alexa, right? So I don't think that he is going to be the 6th person, but maybe in some original plans when they were putting this group together or throwing ideas around, maybe Karrion was going to be in the group. We know, actually, that Eric Young, who is now in TNA, he was going to do things with Bray. So we know there were plans that never came to fruition. So, yes, absolutely, right? Does it change anything, though? You know? Does it change anything if he was going to be part of some plans that never happened anyway? Don't know. He has a secret. He's got some up his sleeve that he claims. I don't know when we're going to find the answer to that, but I'm very much looking forward to hopefully one day finding out whatever that is. Now, we've got a new folder, and this, I have to stress, is not a folder that I'm looking to use on a regular basis because I am worried that we will just be flooded with theories. And also, people will be disappointed if theirs don't make it, right? For some reason, I just had quite a few interesting theories in a short space of time, and they were things that I genuinely found interesting. So, again, this is not a regular folder, or at least there's no plans for this to be a regular folder. I think when it comes to theories, I'm happy to retweet them. I already think Unseen's too long anyway, so to chuck another regular folder in there is not quite what I'm looking for. But let's enjoy it this time, shall we? So here, Manuel said, I've got a wild theory. We know that Chad said he was there to talk about trades. But what if Dom was there to try and convince them to take Finn, and that's how they get rid of him from Judgment Day? So I really like this. I thought it was very clever. I retweeted it, and it's clever because, yeah, I was struggling, wasn't I? Saying like, well, if Dominik moves, that means that Liv's got to move. That then means we've got to swap the women's champion. It means that Raquel's going to move. And like, it does have a big knock-on effect. What if he gets Finn traded and Finn has to go over to SmackDown, right? I mean, I think it's a very, very clever thought, to be honest. So, Manuel, shout out to you. We had another one here as well that I saw from Cigano, who said, I see people saying that Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn should be at WrestleMania. No, no, no. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Elimination Chamber, Skydome, Toronto, let them headline. So here's Cigano saying, let's do it, Elimination Chamber. Let them be the main event. Like, it's in Canada. Why don't we do Kevin, Sami there? And again, I was like, oh, I'm into that. I understand that. That makes sense. So I like that as well. And then White Rabbit said, what if that up there is Dexter Lumis watching Johnny as he betrayed his friends in Motor City Machine Guns, right? So Dexter Lumis, we know that he is upset. He was abandoned. He was isolated. We never actually saw how or why or when, but so we need to dig into that. And so what if now that Johnny has turned heel, what if it turns out Johnny attacked Street Profits, right? We don't know that he did, but what if he did? What if Dexter was there, keeping an eye on Johnny, just trying to gauge what kind of a person he is? Well, now he might have just observed him attacking Street Profits. He might have observed him kind of cheating his friend to get those tag titles. I'm sure there's going to be other things that Johnny is going to do, and maybe Dexter could be there to observe those as well. It's very interesting. I can't quite make out the person up there. So, I mean, I can't quite tell, like, stature, size, any kind of defining features. So, I mean, it is just kind of being plucked out of thin air. But it was another one that I looked at and I was like, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm amazed that people haven't claimed that it's Karrion Kross and that he's responsible for DIY turning, to be honest. Right? But the Dexter one I thought was quite interesting. So there we go. Not a folder that I'm looking to repeat on a regular basis, but I'm more than happy to have it in there this time. Right, we don't actually have a WWE folder. There was no big WWE news today. The WWE news today was Deadline. So let's have a look, shall we? We did have Sami Zayn Jey Uso at the Big 12 Championship game, right? And there's this moment here, right, which is really fun. So let's play that again. That's good, isn't it? That's good. Look at this. Chelsea Green said, just you wait. Don't know what this is in reference to. So here, look, Chelsea, she seems to have some sort of like moustache, and she's got a WWE jacket on, and she's got whatever that is in her hands. But I can't quite get a read as to what she's doing. Can't quite see this one. I can't quite figure this out. And I got to tell you, a lot of people in the comments are the same as well. They don't quite know where this is leading or what this is leading to. But she's like, just you wait. So Chelsea is up to something. This is really interesting. Macho Man reveals where the Macho Man name came from. He's like, it came from baseball. I was playing baseball and I got into a few fights, and some people brought a sign to the game and they were like, hey, Macho Man, hit it over here, and it had my shirt number on. And he was like, that's where the Macho Man name came from, which I thought was really interesting. So Nick, shout out to you. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's where it came from. Here's Drew. So again, look, we said both of these guys were at the Big 12 conference game, right? Drew's like, a reliable source has told me that the players were saying, aren't he a little old to be a Make-A-Wish kid? And that's come from Fightful. So there we go. Apparently the players were wondering why these like old Make-A-Wish kids were there. Very good. Yeah, and this as well, PBD, right? Big Mama Danny. So here's an image of Tiffany. If you click on the likes, apparently Dominik Mysterio left a like. Dominik, what you doing there? Ah, mate. Dominik leaving likes on Tiffy time pictures. Manuel said Dominik got caught. Here's Brandy. She said, for what it's worth, I never have and never would interfere with a match the way that Ivy Nile just did. Ivy interfering in the Chad versus Cody match, right? Ivy Nile said, okay, stay in your lane, girl. Oh, Ivy Nile responding to Brandy Rhodes. So we had that. Let's go other, shall we? We should have an other folder up here. I don't think there's loads in this one. John Cena says, Toronto, I was lucky enough to stand in the ring to announce my retirement in your ring. I said I'd be back, and this is it. The last time is now. I'm so excited to stand in your ring one last time. Do not miss it. I'm looking forward to an unforgettable event. So John Cena obviously promoting the fact that the Elimination Chamber is going to be the final time that he will be in Toronto. Yeah, so UFC 310 was tonight as well. Rob Van Dam was apparently in the crowd for that show. This is really interesting as well. I'm actually going to retweet it, right? So Ratchet the Owl tagging me in this. It's a TikTok, and it's about how Kevin Owens got his look in NXT. Apparently, he wore a similar thing in Ring of Honor, but when he got signed to WWE and went to NXT, he put a singlet on, you know, like the Big Show, right? And Enzo saw him. He was like, dude, what are you doing? You didn't wear that in Ring of Honor. And Kevin was like, no, but I thought I'd try something. And Enzo was like, no, that's not you. That's not what you are. So apparently Kevin just got the shirt he was wearing, like turned it inside out, wrote the word fight on his t-shirt, and he had pictures took with that, right? And he said he was a bit worried he was going to get in trouble because people are going to be like, what's that shirt you're wearing? Like, what's this? This isn't good enough. But apparently, like, when Triple H called him, he was like, do you want to see the shirts we've been working on for you? And apparently they all said, fight, Owens, fight, and all this kind of stuff. And apparently that's where it came from. So he was like, Enzo got it right. Apparently Finn was around at the same time. Finn wasn't sure whether to do the face paint. And Enzo was like, dude, you got to do the face paint. That's what you are. That's what you do. That's, you know, what makes you you. And Finn was like, okay. And so Finn started doing the face paint. And obviously, you know, we got the demon and all of that. It's not where the demon came from. Finn had been doing that in New Japan. But it's just really interesting how Enzo, you know, did some good stuff. Actually gave some good advice. So there we go. Look, Ratchet said, oh no, we owe Enzo a tiny bit of credit. No, we don't. Check out this video. So yeah, no, respect where it's due. Fair play. Right, this news did the round. Penta went to AAA tonight to say goodbye to Mexico and to AAA. He said he's taken some time off to make a career decision. Oh, how about that? I saw a lot of people disappointed when he went to Mexico because people are like, oh, he's gone back to AAA, but he only went back to say goodbye. So that looks like Penta is on his way. Matt, shout out to you, said on my Fire Stick, I noticed WWE programming says it includes ads. So that's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really go on Netflix. I know there's different brackets. But yeah, obviously, even if you pay for not having ads, I think the plan is they're still going to have ad breaks. I don't think you'll see adverts. You might end up seeing like WWE promotional things. But I think there's still going to be ad breaks built in. So yeah, interesting, because originally we heard that if you had adverts because you had the cheaper version of Netflix, you'd have your adverts. What the other people would see is we would stay with the matches, but nothing really that interesting would happen until the other people came back. That's what we heard. But then I started to hear maybe they're going to build in ad breaks, but it won't be adverts. Well, it will, but it'll just be for WWE stuff. A little bit like it is if you watch NXT in the UK on the network. We don't have adverts. Whenever you go to a commercial break in America on the CW network, we obviously go to commercial break, but we don't see adverts. We just see, well, I suppose adverts, but for the WWE network content, you know? Stuff advertising like Liv Morgan's documentary, stuff advertising Raw and all that kind of stuff, you know? So perhaps it'll be something similar. And this as well. So Ray Phoenix just tweeting out, no one stays in a place where they received inhumane treatment. So Mitchell, shout out to you. That's obviously got a lot of people talking, but he's an AEW star and we don't really deal with AEW news, so nothing to do with us. So there we go. That's been a big talking point. Let's go community, because I did forget this the other day. I made a boo-boo. I didn't notice until after I'd finished the video that I completely missed the community folder, so apologies, but we can do it now. Miss Clown, shout out to you, said, I'm jumping on the bandwagon. So here we've got this from Miss Clown, getting a like from Seamus. Very cool. Now, I don't know who this is, Myla Grace, but so I'm not impressed with that. That doesn't impress me. That one does. So there we go, Miss Clown. Shout out to you, buds. And as well, look at this, Jimmy. Look at this. He's got UFC on that screen. He had Deadline on that screen. He had the GOAT on this screen right here. Look at that. Amazing. Lord Sheargrath said, Rhea Ripley started following me. I'm no expert, but it might be fake. I've looked at it and I think it checks out, to be honest. Everything about this looks like it checks out, from the random numbers at the end to the fact she's only got 14 followers to the fact that there's no kind of blue mark or anything, the fact it's a really out-of-date picture, the fact that she doesn't have a banner, the fact she joined in October 2024. I don't know. I appreciate you sending it in, though. Tony said, wrestling community, baby Barry's big bro Vikram. It's his 4th birthday today. Forever yeet, yeet. So we did celebrate this on stream, but I thought I'd include it here as well. So I think this is a picture here of Vikram. So should hopefully pop up soon. Should pop up really soon. Literally any minute now. Any say it'll come. Don't worry. It's going to be so worth it when it does. In a second. Any second now. Any second now, baby. Well, there we go. Vikram, hope you had a great birthday, buds. Hope you had a great birthday. Little Fuego said, shout out to the GOAT for the follow. So here, Little Fuego getting a follow. There we go. From Karrion Kross. Billy getting a message back from Samantha Irvin. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for supporting us. And like a hugging emoji as well. So, Billy, shout out to you. Here's Adam. Look, his top song was WWE Shatter by Bray Wyatt. So, there, Adam said, this is cool. So, I'm not sure what that's on. Spotify, maybe. I don't know. But I know all those kind of end-of-year wrap-ups are coming out now. And Raymond said, Days, I'm very grateful. I got a message from Natalia. Thank you so much, Raymond. I really appreciate you. And, again, any minute now. You can tell that my internet is back to full glory. Yeah, I'm sure I clicked on it, and I think it was actually from Natalia, right? Because I know if like me, you were like, no, I bet it's not the real Natalia. I think it actually was, you know. I think it actually, but I'm sure I clicked on it, but this was a few days ago. And I'm sure it was from Natalia. But unfortunately, because my internet is absolute garbage tonight, we will never know. So there we go. So that was that. And then I think we've just got some thanks to do. So let's do that, because I do appreciate all the support. Like this from Wrestling's biggest fan and Brown666, Casper, Bam Bam, Lynette, Charlie, Bradley, Word of Wrestling, Sweet Chin Wrestling, Lucas, Raymond, Lynette again, Kelly the Wise Lady, Emmanuel, OTC, and Jang Tae Sang. And then, of course, we had the Wyatt's tweet, so that meant you lot tagged me in, and I appreciate it. So, Wrestle Knight, David, J Omega, Ratchet the Owl, Stan Games, Kane, Fiendish Howdy, Larry, Raymond, Little Bit of a Fan, Chris, PQM, Austin, Aeros 1, FGC Dads, Junk Wax Obsessed, Edward, Julian, Brandon, Craig, and Cubs fan. Shout out to all of you. Really appreciate the support, and everyone that sent things over. And yeah, a little bit tricky today because my internet has been absolute garbage, and it might be garbage for the rest of today. I really don't know, but there is a bad storm in the UK, hence why this was delayed. But hopefully it was worth it in the end. So thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support. I will see you next time. Bye for now.